Jim AC Show.
You've all no doubt heard about the massive blackout in India. 600 million people without electricity. There are people stuck in mining shafts. Now, that's got to be horrifying. I would hate that. I'd rather be... See, I'm never going to be a miner in the first place because I have some amount of claustrophobia. But I would rather be underground and unable to get through the shaft than stuck in the shaft. That just sounds awful. You're talking about 600 million people. That is a little less than twice the population of the United States. We have in the United States somewhere in the neighborhood of 325, 330 million people, I think. I don't think it's 350 million yet, but in India, 600 million people are without electricity. It's hard to imagine how many people. It's hard to hear that number and get your head around it. But there's a reason for this, and I don't think much of the mainstream media is reporting this. I did happen to find this story at the Earth blog section of the NewYorkTimes.com. I want you to hear this. This is very important. I think that what's happening in India is going to become a very positive issue for Mitt Romney in running against Barack Obama and his energy agenda. Why are 600 million people without electricity in India? And I don't think you and I can even imagine the scope of misery that the people of India are going through. Visitors, tourists, everyone. It would be great to think that renewable energy sources and distributed electricity generation could solve such problems, and they're great when they work. And India, by the way, is ramping up an ambitious effort to expand solar energy. But the reality is that the grids and the central power plants are a mainstay of increasingly urbanized economies. Again, this is written at the NewYorkTimes.com. More than half of India's power generating capacity of 205 gigawatts is coal-based, and Coal India Limited, the world's biggest coal producer, is unable to produce enough owing to delays in getting environmental clearances for mining. Okay? You follow what's happening here? India is reeling with half of its population of 1.2 billion people having no electricity because of the same energy policies that Barack Obama has in mind for our country.
Alternatives including coal or alternatives?
Let me sort of describe my overall policy. I mean, what I've said is that we would put a cap and trade system in place that is as aggressive, if not more aggressive, than anybody else's out there. I was the first to call for 100% auction on the cap and trade system, which means that every unit of carbon or greenhouse gases was emitted would be charged to the polluter. That will create a market in which whatever technologies are out there that are being presented, whatever power plants that are being built, that they would have to meet the rigors of that market and the ratcheted down caps that are imposed every year. So if somebody wants to build a coal power plant, they can. It's just that it will bankrupt them because they're going to be charged a huge sum for all that greenhouse gas that's being emitted. The problem is not technical, and the problem is not sufficient mastery of the legislative intricacies of Washington. The problem is, can you get the American people to say this is really important and force their representatives to do the right thing? That requires mobilizing a citizenry. That requires them understanding what is at stake. And climate change is a great example. When I was asked earlier about the issue of coal, under my plan of a cap and trade system, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket, even regardless of what I say about whether coal is good or bad, because I'm capping greenhouse gases, coal-powered plants, natural gas, you name whatever the plants were, whatever the industry was, they would have to retrofit their operations. That will cost money. They will pass that money on to consumers. You can already see what the arguments are going to be during the general election. People will say, Obama and Al Gore, these folks, they're going to destroy the economy. This is going to cost us $8 trillion or whatever their number is. If you can't persuade the American people that, yes, there is going to be some increase in electricity rates on the front end, but that over the long term, because of combinations of more efficient energy usage and changing light bulbs and more efficient appliances, but also technology improving how we can produce clean energy, that the economy will benefit. If we can't make that argument persuasively enough, you can be Lyndon Johnson. You can be the master of Washington. You're not going to get that done.
God, I hope not. Because our future is being played out in India right now with 600 million people without electricity. Government giveaways in the form of free electricity to farmers and a reluctance among politicians to raise power tariffs to sufficiently cover costs have drained cash reserves from the largely state-run electricity distribution companies, leaving them with mounting debt and hampered ability to purchase power. That's from the Wall Street Journal yesterday. And by the way, this is no surprise either. At the International Business Times, all of these articles are cited at thenewyorktimes.com. A research analyst at Matthews International Capital Management in San Francisco warned in April of this year that India is on the brink of a major power crisis. He indicated that coal comprises half of India's energy resources and that supply is largely controlled by just one government-owned company, Coal India Limited. Quote, furthermore, environmental restrictions have tightened over the last few years, leading to the closure of several coal mines. This massive blackout in India is the result of the very same kind of energy policy that Barack Obama has in mind for America. And that's why I say Mitt Romney needs to run with this. Mitt Romney's campaign needs to be able to illustrate for the American people what's happening in India could happen here because of the energy policies of Barack Hussein Obama. And by the way, this morning, Rush Limbaugh said that this is Obama's wet dream for America. He wants this to happen here. And I don't think it's all that far-fetched to say that. I don't think it's a stretch. Obama is doing the same thing in America. On July 1st at the Wall Street Journal, India is facing an energy crisis that is slowing economic growth in the world's largest democracy. At stake is India's ability to bring electricity to 400 million rural residents, a third of the population, as well as keep the lights on at corporate office towers and provide enough fuel for 1.5 million new vehicles added to the roads each month. Wow. 1.5 million new cars added each month. So that is Barack Obama's energy policy in action. 600 million people without electricity in India. Wonderful.
The Jimmy Z Show.